BookTube. Stella and I are here to give you a little reading update. I just wanted to hop on here real quick today and talk to you about some of my recent reads. Stella is on my lap and she's being very whiny and wanting attention, and she's laying down now so you can't see her, but she's here, and hopefully she won't be too whiny while I'm trying to film. This is just like a little casual update, like I said, on what I've been reading throughout the spring. I can feel myself getting into the summer reading mode and thinking about what I want to read over the summer and planning just like my reading mood. I'm trying to not be too strict in terms of making a specific TBR, but I have rearranged my living room bookshelves to just put out some summery books just for inspiration, and we'll see where the summer reading takes me. Let me know what you're planning for your own summer reads, and if you read anything that you particularly enjoyed this spring. I don't have a ton to share with you. I only have a few books. And some of them are sadly going to be invisible because I read them on my Kindle. But nevertheless, so to start with, I didn't read this book, but this is the only physical copy that I have from the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter by Susan Wittig Albert. And I read the third and fourth installments in this series on my Kindle. I read The Tale of Cuckoo Brow Wood and The Tale of Hawthorn House. And I enjoyed both of those. I'm going to stop holding this up because it's not the book I read. I enjoyed both of those so thoroughly. I am just really enjoying reading these Beatrix Potter mysteries on my Kindle. I just am finding them so delightful and pastoral and funny in parts and just utterly British and charming. And as a person who is a big Beatrix Potter fan, and I would say like at least a medium level Beatrix Potter nerd, you know, I've read multiple biographies of Beatrix at this point. I love Susan Branch, who also is obsessed with Beatrix Potter, so I absorb that Beatrix Potter love through osmosis. And I love learning about her. I'd be happy to read more biographies about her life, and I just find her utterly fascinating and full of gumption, and I just think there's so many wonderful things about her once you start learning about her life. So as a Beatrix Potter fan, I have not found anything in this series by Susan Wittig Albert that offends me or bothers me. In terms of the portrayal of Beatrix herself, of course, we can't perfectly capture a human being exactly in a fictional reimagining of their life, but I think it's a pretty solid interpretation of Beatrix Potter, and it's just fun to be able to spot little things about her life, her journey with moving to the Lake District, just different family members and like lore. If you know any lore about her life, you can spot the little bits and pieces of it throughout this series, and I'm just finding that very fun and rewarding. And I like that it doesn't just fantastically imagine that Beatrix seamlessly moved out of her parents' house and away from London and just lived at Hilltop Farm full time. Like, it is faithful to the fact that she couldn't live there full time for quite a while. She had to go back and forth between London and the Lake District, and she was very much still tied to her parents and her family obligations. So I think the series does a great job of remaining faithful to that reality in her life. So the setup with this series is that it takes place in the Lake District at Hilltop Farm, which Beatrix has recently purchased. after the death of her fiance, and she's kind of trying to start over in her life and do some self-actualization. And there are mysteries that crop up in the village, and Beatrix takes a hand in helping to put things right, as do some local village animals, which very enjoyably take a hand in resolving things as well. And the animals in this series don't communicate with people. They can communicate with one another, but not with people, although Beatrix kind of has like a special affinity for them sometimes. But there's animals who are pets, like dogs and cats, and then there's wild animals like badgers and foxes and stuff. And that's just a fun and delightful part of the series as well. There's like little side plots about what's going on with the animals. And I would definitely describe it as cozy. Like the mysteries are not, it's just, there's a low intensity level in terms of like how anxious it is or how intense. Like it's not intense. It's not graphic by any means. It's not hard boiled. But I have been impressed with the writing. I'm just really digging it. So yeah, reading 2 books in the Cottage Tales this spring was just the perfect thing. And this kind of ties in, it is a reflection of my reading mood and my mental fatigue that I was really obsessed with the Beatrix Potter books. And then also obsessed with Emma M. Lyon, which I can't show you because I've also been reading those on my Kindle. So I'm going to put this down. But yeah, I attempted to read the Emma Lyon books. At some point in the last year or so, I read the first one and I just didn't connect with it. And I wanted to so much. I was like very excited to get into it. It just felt incomplete to me. I had a hard time connecting to it. Something about it just felt a little bit remote. And I this year just really wanted to try again. And I had heard a couple of people say that the first couple of books in this series are weaker than the ones that follow, and the series just gets better and better as you go along. And that made me feel like, okay, I need to try again. And I think I just have a better understanding now of what this series is. So if you don't know, the Emma Lyon books, I believe they take place in the 1890s in a like fictional neighborhood in London called St. Crispin's. And we follow Emma Lyon, who lives in this beautiful house that's been passed down through her family, but she doesn't have material wealth immediately at her fingertips because her fortune and her inheritance is currently in the hands of her evil uncle, Archibald. I think his name is Archibald. Maybe I'm getting his name wrong. He's not nice. And yeah, so Emma is like grappling with coming of age, dealing with the social scene, trying to establish herself in it. But she's not like as high, she's not high enough on the social ladder to just be totally illustrious and have everything coming easily to her. She's got some challenges. And it is epistolary, so it's written in the form of her journal. And I think I just realized that I needed to change my expectations of what this series is and not treat each book like it's a full-length novel, because they're volumes, like they're volumes of her diary. And I think when you understand that and just go in with different expectations of how it's going to feel and how it will be structured, I think you will fare better. And I certainly am now. And this has been just the perfect, like, life-softening, easy on my mind thing when I really needed that. My work schedule was nuts in April and the first part of May. And I didn't have capacity for much. So I was just looking forward to the end of the night when I could sit with my Kindle and read a few pages of Emma's diary. I love the epistolary form so much, and it feels very kind of light academia, domestic fiction, suitors galore. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Emma M. Lyon. I have the third one on Kindle, but I am not allowing myself to start it until I finish the other Bennett sister. This is the rule that I have imposed upon myself, so we will see if I am disciplined enough to stick to that. Okay, I'm trying to grab more books without disturbing Stella. But the next book that I have to talk about, I'm just so pleased to be able to tell you that I read this book. This book has been on my list of books to read for several years, and I have just been feeling so much FOMO that other booktubers who I really respect their taste love this book and have talked about it with such praise and esteem. And I tried to read it once, didn't finish it, got stuck, felt overwhelmed, and then stopped. So this was yet another case. I have to do this fairly often in my reading life. I think I just sometimes start books and it's not the right time. And I'm very much not a pusher when it comes to finishing books if I'm not enjoying it, like, or if I just get overwhelmed because I start too many things at once, and I don't love that about myself, but I just get excited and in different moods, and sometimes I just overwhelm myself with reading too much at once and I have to let some things go. So often it's a combination of factors that will make me put a book down. But anyway, I picked it back up, I tried again, and this is the book that I spent most of April reading, and I loved it so much. So without further preamble, that book was The Shell Seekers by Rosamunde Pilcher, which, like I said, I'm so happy that I finally made it through this book, and it was just such a wonderful experience. Now I love Winter Solstice by Rosamunde Pilcher a lot. It has become one of my favorite books ever, and I just find it utterly comforting and beautiful and life-affirming. I had started The Shell Seekers at one point. I was listening to the audiobook, and the thing is with this book, the heart of this novel, as Miranda Mills asserted in one of her videos, is Penelope Keeling, who's an older lady that we follow. I love an older lady protagonist. So we're getting bits of Penelope's past life, her teenage years into young adulthood, her experience of going through the Second World War, and starting a family. But we're also looking at her elderly years and her relationship with her adult children. And her adult children are very annoying. So that was just a big struggle for me when I first was trying to read The Shell Seekers. I was just like, these people are so pretentious and bougie, and I was just struggling. But I tried this time on this reading to just focus on Penelope and just let myself be carried away by Rosamunde Pilcher's wonderful storytelling. And I successfully did that and had an absolutely lovely time. And I reached a point where I was thinking about this book all day. I had to know what was going to happen to Penelope in like the younger time of her life and in the current time of, you know, her issues with her adult children. And she is just such a compelling woman, like so mature and confident in herself and not valuing things just for like wealth and riches or other people's acclaim, but like truly seeking out a sanctuary for herself in the world, like making her home a sanctuary and welcoming other people into it and just living abundantly. Like she just has an abundant life, and I loved getting a taste of that in this novel. And I do think that the adult children are an important foil for her. So you just got to get through them. And there is one who's more redeeming than the other two. So there is that. But yeah, this is just, first of all, this edition specifically is like everything that a paperback should be. Like, it's just so such a luscious reading experience just to hold this and read it. This would be such a great summer read. So if you need something to just carry you away and you need an older female protagonist with gumption and you need Rosamunde Pilcher's glorious focus on interiors and textures and fabrics and food and landscape, like this is the book that you need. So yeah, I feel very accomplished. Like, this will be one of my best reading accomplishments of this year because it's a big book. I felt intimidated by it. I was worried I would never connect with it and get through it. So now I have 2 Rosamunde Pilcher books that I have completed and loved. My next one is September. I don't know if I'll get to it this year, but that's my next Rosamunde Pilcher goal, is to read her novel September. So yeah, feeling very pleased about that. And then finally, my most recent read, this was like a complete deviation from everything that The Shell Seekers is. This book, Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, was recommended to me by one of my coworkers, and I trust her. And yeah, I was very intrigued by the premise of this. It takes place on an island off the coast of Washington. Immediately sign me up for that. Generations of women have lived on the island. Sign me up for that. Witches. You know, like quiet domestic magic that is just weaved into everyday life. Herb lore. Sign me up for all of these things. And there's a murder mystery at the heart of this book. So there's a romance between the 2 main protagonists, and then there is a murder mystery at the heart of it all. So you're invested in the romance and how that's going to turn out, and you're also invested in figuring out who did it all those years ago. A girl who lives on the island was found dead in the woods with ocean water in her lungs, and you just want to know why and what happened. So I would say this was, again, I would classify this, maybe I've just already fully started summer reading, because I think this would make a great summer read. It has like practical magic and Twilight vibes, I would say, but without vampires, and a bit more sophisticated, I would say, than Twilight, but it's just fun. Like, it's a moody Pacific Northwest, like, romance with some mystery in it and some witchiness. So yeah, I had a lovely time reading this, was very obsessed with it and couldn't put it down, and kept getting very interrupted by life obligations while I was reading this, and had that classic reader feeling of annoyance that I kept having so many things to do when I just wanted to finish my book. So yes, those are some things that I have been recently reading. And yeah, I'm ready for fun summer reads. So let me know if you're planning on reading anything in particular this summer, or if you're just gonna vibe and see what mood takes you. And let me know what some of your favorite reads have been from the spring, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.